Well, it's almost Thanksgiving. It's time for pumpkin cheesecake. Hi, it's Gloria Donahue. Welcome to Nana's Cookery. Welcome to my kitchen, or welcome back to the kitchen. It's always good to have you come. It's almost Thanksgiving here, 2016. And pumpkin cheesecake comes to mind. I've tried many through the years, but I settled on this one quite a few years ago, and I've always gotten such good feedback from it. I really enjoyed it, and I think you will too. Cheesecake is not a particularly hard thing to make. It doesn't require any great skill. It does require some tools. You usually need a springform pan, and that is a pan where the sides open so that the cheesecake sits on the base and you can remove the sides. You couldn't do it in a regular cake pan. It just wouldn't work because you can't turn it out like you can a cake. It usually consists of a crust on the bottom and then a filling, and then sometimes a topping. And this does have a topping. And the crust is interesting because it is ginger snaps. And ginger snaps are a ginger cookie that are more popular in the fall probably than any other time. And they are very gingery and they're very crisp. So it called for 1.5 cups of ground ginger snaps. And this is what they look like when they come in a box. They're just in the regular cookie aisle. So there's 1.5 cups of the ground ginger snaps, 1.5 cups of toasted pecans. And mine were in smaller pieces, not halves, but they have been toasted. And then there is 1/4 cup of brown sugar in there. And we're going to whiz that up, and then we're going to add a few tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. Oh, it smells so good. Now I have a nice crust mixture here, and I'm going to put it in the bottom and up the sides. And one of the reasons you put crust usually up the sides of a cheesecake form, the springform pan, is because it is loose. It's a loose bottom there, and you don't want anything leaking out. And so the crust gives the cake a support and also helps keep that filling from leaving that pan. So we're going to put that now on the bottom and up the sides. So there's our crust ready to go. We'll put that aside for a moment. Well, we're ready to start with our mixer now. And I have to say, especially for a cheesecake, a stand mixer is almost a necessity, because if that cheese, and get it to room temperature, definitely have the cheese at room temperature. I have 4 8-ounce packages of the just regular Philadelphia cream cheese that I always use. And I'm going to cream that with 1 2/3 cups of sugar. Now, I found lately in my sugar it's quite annoying. There appear to be lumps in it. But I know with the white sugar that those lumps will come out. With brown sugar it would not be so easy. But these are crushed between your fingers and it'll come out. I just don't know why it's coming that way in the bag. But I'm going to put the sugar in with the cream cheese, and then we're going to cream it. I did stop the mixer a few times and scrape the beater and scrape the bowl to make sure that that was getting a nice consistent mixture. That's what you always want when you're mixing anything in the mixer, that the mixture is consistent, that it's incorporated everything. And now we're going to take out 3/4 cup of this and save it, because that's going to be part of the trimming that will be put on tomorrow. Now this cheesecake does have to be started the day before. It does have to sit and cool and settle. And most cheesecakes are better that way, except they also taste better if you take them out of the refrigerator a little before you're really going to eat them. When you sit down to dinner, take them out. Sometimes cheesecakes are so cold and so firm that you really don't get a good taste. So if you take it out when you sit down to dinner, it should be at a good temperature when you're ready to eat dessert. So we're just going to put that aside. And now we're going to incorporate 4 eggs, which you know I did separately before I put in the bowl. So we're going to add 4 eggs to this. We're going to add 1.5 cups of canned pumpkin. Now this is not pumpkin pie filling. When you go to the store, it's canned pumpkin. And it took almost the full can, but you know what? It's about 1/3 more left. And you would think, well, why not just put it all in? I mean, it's so close. But when you bake, you try to be precise with your measurements because a little bit of difference can make a lot. So it said 1.5 cups, and that's what I took. There's 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And there is a teaspoon of allspice. And I used to think that allspice was a mix of spices, but it's not. There is a spice called allspice. Don't use it all that often, but it's nice to have it. So we need a teaspoon of that and a teaspoon of the ever popular cinnamon. Now we're going to slowly incorporate all of this. And as you can see, it's really not that involved. While the mixer was going, I was saying to you that it's a good idea to clean up as you go along, especially when the mixer was going. Then all of a sudden I realized something Tom has only told me 1,000,000 times. Nana, when the mixer is running, they can't hear you. You're talking to yourself. We're going to pour the filling now into the springform pan and take it to the oven. It says that this should almost come to the top, so we'll see. Then as the cheesecake bakes, it will rise slightly, but then as it cools, it will settle slightly. Hi, our cheesecake is out of the oven and now it's resting, and it's going to rest all night. We're going to bring it down, cool it, and then we're going to put it in the refrigerator all night, and then we're going to trim it and it'll be so pretty. Thanks for coming to the kitchen. It's always nice to have you. Bye-bye.